They say there are two constants in life: death and taxes. And today, we're going to change one of those. The, death part. Because Necromancer does not pay taxes, or have the cognitive ability to understand what a W-2 is. So today, we will be delving into the dark arts of necromancy after my beautiful wife was murdered, and my infant son was stolen for his premium genetics. And after our 200-year nap with Boston improved, it was time to find the secrets to eternal life, of a sort. And unsure of where to start my search, I took a trek down to Concord to ask for directions to the local Necromancy fan club, where one of the kind locals gave me the likely response to asking about raising the dead. I'm just glad I didn't overreact in this situation. After looking around Concord, we finally find our mentor. And what better way to learn than on the job? Gotta get some workplace experience. After a positive apprenticeship experience, we were finally able to graduate to a full necromancer in true American fashion, from the express end of a shotgun. And with our fashionable upgrade, we were now an official amateur necromancer. Stylish, terrifying, and slightly incompetent. Perfect for Boston. With our powers established, it's time to raise our first army. Rule number 1, skeletons are dangerous. Not to you, but to your business practices. So, when you try extorting an old woman and her son for money, be prepared for your minions to voice their concerns by bludgeoning them violently, resulting in their immediate death. Second death. Logistics on skeleton death aside, it was clear we needed a new plan. So it was time to head to Diamond City to look for answers. And given the fact necromancy is looked down upon by every faction in the Commonwealth for obvious reasons, we were going to need a disguise to safely enter Diamond City. They will never suspect a thing. Now safely in Diamond City, we can find someone to help us locate our stalactite? Stalagmite. Son. Yeah, our son. But unfortunately for us, the detective was missing. Supposedly kidnapped by a group of violent thugs. Unsure if I could trust what this person was telling me, I went to a reliable source I could trust. So it was true. He really was kidnapped. So it was time for a rescue mission, which will require the utmost stealth. And by stealth, I mean bringing an army of skeletons into a subway, filled with armed criminals. Subtle, stealthy, and absolutely professional, with no one the wiser, as there was nobody left alive to notice. We rescue Nick Valentine and return to Diamond City, where through the help of detective work, we find out that Kellogg's house is in fact locked. Thanks, Nick. What would I have ever done without you? So we were going to have to convince the mayor to hand over the key.
I see. I'm sorry.
But apparently, I must look untrustworthy. So it was time for my new negotiation tactic. As a certified necromancer, we don't always have to find skeletons. We can simply collect a random assortment of bones and head to the nearest workbench to assemble a fully portable skeleton for hire. No foreshadowing at all here. It's kind of like a Labubu, but more deadly. After the mayor saw reason, through his mild concussion, he hands over the key to Cheerio's apartment. After looting his house for valuables, it was time to begin our search for the serial man himself. But not before Nick wanted to join us on this wild adventure, to which we agree.
You say jump, I'll say how high.
How high? Apparently that high. The search for Kellogg began with a guided tour of the Commonwealth courtesy of Dog Meat, featuring attractions such as getting mauled to death by wild animals and fistfighting irradiated crackheads. Along the way, I recruit every skeleton I come across into my volunteer fighting force. Joining is mandatory. Survival is optional. While fighting through Fort Hagen, I discovered something troubling. Skeletons can scheme, as one decided to bludgeon Kellogg with a stick to distract him from another with a fat man acquired from God knows where. After acquiring the brain chip from his nuclear deep-fried body, it was time to head to Goodneighbor. But the supernatural power of Finn had other plans.
You can't go walking around without insurance.
Oh, the game crashed. As a single mention of the word insurance would crash my game without fail. So, I would remedy this the only way I know how. Problem solved. After experiencing the highlight of Bethesda writing, we find out that an Institute scientist, Virgin, is located somewhere in the Glowing Sea. The Glowing Sea is a completely normal place. If you ignore the flesh-melting acid rain, lethal amounts of radiation, and the subterranean tax collectors waiting to ambush you. So just modern-day Australia. To deal with the rain, it's simple. Just do not have flesh that can melt. Second, the lethal amounts of bone cancer can be dealt with by a simple medical procedure. Drugs! A lot of them. And finally for the Scorpions, we have a simple advantage. You see, Scorpions cannot read. So we could introduce them to a pre-war hobby called a World Series. After our task of local depopulation was complete, the storm subsided, revealing a giant, evil-looking fortress directly in front of me. Thinking that this must be one of those mythical Airbnbs, I decided to walk closer, because at no point did I think this was a bad idea. Until we met the owner, a Lich, and his 300 relatives. We were prepared to do battle for this prime real estate. He disagreed. One resurrection later, and our pride shattered, we instead continue our search for Virgil, but I will be back. With friends. And during our journey, we find a town of radioactive hobos and introduce ourselves. Hello, neighbor. After getting familiar with the neighborhood, we arrive at Virgil's Goon Cave, where he tells us that to enter the Institute, we will need to get our second brain chip of the day. Just less irradiated this time. But wanting to recruit more help for the fight ahead, we searched the area for volunteers. And accidentally walked into an arena challenge, where we murdered the other contestants. And instead of $10,000, we were rewarded with a taser, which we gave to one of our minions and gave the gunners in Courser and Green Tech the Twitch stream experience. With the second brain made into Jello today, we collected the chip to have it analyzed by someone smarter than us, which is not a high bar. So it's off to visit the railroad, until I got sidetracked by an art gallery, where I could admire the artistic nuance of dead bodies. We rescued a fellow serial killer, and he rewards us with a love letter and a fancy knife that we give a more appropriate name. Making our way to the railroad, I was nervous to make a good first impression, so to calm my nerves, I chugged around 37 bottles of alcohol in preparation. I think our first meeting went pretty well.
I followed the Freedom Trail looking for the railroad.
If that's true, you have nothing to fear.
After the warm welcome, we have the chip decoded by the local schizophrenic and decide to join the railroad. Given their mild homicidal tendencies, I think we'll fit right in. Our first mission was simple. Meet a man named Ricky Dalton who warns us about dozens of landmines. To see if what he was saying is true, I asked him to do a little recon.
You think he's telling the truth?
I think he's hiding something.
Thanks to Ricky's mind-clearing creativity, we could safely enter the base, murder the toasters inside, and retrieve the prototype. After some more menial tasks of go here, murder everyone, and embrace proper dietary habits, the railroad agreed to help us. Good God, what the hell is that? Apparently, I was not the only necromancer in the Commonwealth. Say what you want, but this is the peak female form. They asked me to retrieve a DNA sample. I refused. In response, she summoned giant golems, and it was a fight for survival. She's dead already. With her death, we gained the ability to summon golems of our own that I cannot control. Hello, friend. After being stared at in my sleep by my new best friend, it was finally time to visit the Institute and consider a restraining order. My son, he was so young when taken from me. So much has changed. Would I even be able to recognize him?
It's me. I am Sean. I am your son.
Hold on, just give me a second. I need it. This is a lot to process. You're still there? Sean, it's really you. I should have never taken you for granted.
Yes.
Thanks to my son being the leader of the Institute and his undying trust in our good nature, we had free reign to steal, murder, maim, and be an overall menace to society with zero repercussions, as our son was rather hard-headed and couldn't see our subtle manipulation behind his back. But we had to keep up the facade of being a productive member of society to not raise suspicion. We tried being a chef, that didn't work, so instead we traveled to a high-tech facility, stabbed some Avengers cosplayers, stole a high-tech battery, drank some pool water, died, had to do all of that again, and had just enough time left in my day to tell a man hiding in his bathroom we would harvest his organs.
That's not funny!
He thought I was joking. I was not. If we wanted the best chance in our rematch against the Lich, we were going to have to produce skeletons at an industrial pace. And to do that, we needed infrastructure. Lots of infrastructure. Welcome to the future of death, where we take your loved ones and turn them into valued employees. The process is very simple. Step 1, acquire willing participants. With the promise of medicinal substances, you can guarantee a steady stream of volunteers. Step 2, say hello to gravity. Gravity is a cost-effective solution to the problem of life, and nothing's more free than free fall. Step 3, processing. This is the simplest part. Do nothing. Your construct of worker recruitment will break down the valuable components from your workers and deposit them into the workbench for proper job assignment. Skin, useless. Organs, profitable. Bones? Now we're talking. Step 4, assemble your army. Using cutting-edge pre-war technology and a complete disregard for ethics, we assemble our workforce. Step 5, this is the most important. Wonder if you have to pay skeletons wages. You don't, I checked. With our skeleton army equipped for war, and the club, it was finally time for our rematch. Last time we were here, we were embarrassed by a lich with a god complex. But what's a god to a man feared by something greater? At the end of it all, it was just me and him. And this time, we would not fight fair. Ancient immortality cannot compete with industrialization. With the Lich defeated, we claimed our new property. Full of legal wealth, a statue to summon free labor, and a balcony to overlook our property. I hope you like the sight of nothing but yellow. With our new headquarters secured, we returned to the Institute to assist the railroad, freeing the synths from their oppressive existence and introducing them to a new one. After reducing dozens of synths to spare parts, it was time for a family reunion. My skeletons cure my son's cancer, I fix my mistake, then fight our way to the reactor where we plant the fusion charge before escaping, and reduce the Institute to a pile of rubble. With the destruction of the Institute, we saved most of. You know, I'm sure enough made it out just fine. Probably. Even with the Institute gone, the saying remains true. There are two constants in life: death and taxes. You can automate one and ignore the other.